Good morning, friends. How are you? I've had a lovely, lovely, productive morning, which always makes me feel good. It's a nice start to the day. I got to the gym. I thought I was supposed to go to the dentist this morning, but my appointment is actually for later this afternoon. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to take this opportunity and go to the gym, which I did. And then I had a call with my friend Sarah. I think you've met her on my vlog. She came to visit over my birthday. She's a business coach. So we talk every week, kind of keep ourselves accountable and just update each other on our businesses and things like that. And we were talking about goals. And so I thought that would be a good thing to talk about today. I was just kind of clearing out my notebook. We talked about notebooks in depth in my video about what I'm not buying in 2024, but this is the notebook that I do actually use. This is my s.m.a.r.t agenda, I think it's called. It just has like rings, I just have pages in there. That's it. And then I think I may have even mentioned my Hobonichi planner. So this is just the cover. The planner is, I'll turn to a blank page because I use this planner in the beginning of the year and then at the end of the year. I didn't really use it in the middle. And I am gonna change my habits for sure surrounding that, because when I used it at the end of the year to help me schedule or just kind of think out mishmash, it was really helpful. It was very, very helpful. I tend to want to, and I do rely on like my electronic calendars because I can see it on my iPad, I can see it on my laptop, I can see it on my computer, I can see it on my phone. I can share it with people if I need to. But I have found that my electronic method isn't great for me in terms of like working things out. So I feel like once I'm done working stuff out, then I can move it into my electronic calendar. So that's sort of the plan. I use my notebook to just write down thoughts. I don't really journal. I used to journal, I don't really anymore. I think that's okay. I had a journaling phase. I really used a notebook to just jot things down. Notes for meetings, things like that. And then ideally what I like to do is then go into my calendar when I need to and like start plotting out things like video ideas, like referring to my list in my notebook of video ideas and then like figuring out where they go. So I thought I would talk about some additional goals that I have. And I say additional because I posted a blog post last Friday about some goals that I have for 2024. And I said, I'll have more and I'll make a video about it. So here we are. We're talking about more goals. I have some pretty good ones up on the blog. So definitely check out my blog post. I'll link it down below, and definitely subscribe to my newsletter. That's when you'll be informed of a new blog post. And that's where I also, I just share some things. Sometimes I just send out a newsletter. If I don't have time to write a blog post, I'll just send out a newsletter, and it's just a way for me to say hi. Hi to you in the inbox. So a link to subscribe to my newsletter is down below as well. But anyway, I just received my new Hobonichi 2024 Techo Cousin planner. So I'm gonna swap this out. All right, so let me bring over my old planner here. I'm gonna swap this out. So you just kind of slide the cover into this, or the cover of the planner into this actual cover. And the cover is what has the ribbons and stuff and the extra pockets. If you don't want to use a cover, this planner is pretty cool all on its own. But I just, as you guys know, I love bears. So I got one with polar bears on it. Oh, and I ordered a space pen too because I have a space pen and I love it, but I wanted to keep one with this planner. So I ordered that too. Forgot about that. And let's see. So these are Japanese made, these Hobonichi planners, and they really have this cult following. And, you know, I never really understood it. I was like, whatever, a planner's a planner, right? It's just got the dates or whatever. But there really is something very soothing and aesthetically pleasing, I guess like most Japanese things, very soothing about how this planner is laid out and how it looks. And I just love opening it up. Oh, what's this? Life is present. I couldn't agree more. Oh, look how cute this is. Life is present. Yeah, so there's all these different versions of the notebooks. All right, 2024. So this has, you know, the year views. It has the years laid out this way. This is great for like birthdays and stuff. I probably, admittedly, will not use that. And then there's the month view, which I use a lot actually. And it starts in December, but we'll go right to January. So it's got month views here, and then it's got weekly views, and then it has daily views. And I remember correctly, there's some notes. Yeah, there's some note pages at the end. And then there's timetables, write a recurring hourly schedule for each day of the week, favorites, they have graph paper. So there's like some My 100, which is really nice. So things to accomplish this year, books you've read, movies you've seen, snacks you've tried. So a nice area where you can list out some things. I definitely do not have 100 goals, but maybe I'll use this for my goals. And then, oh my God, this is so funny, an interview with myself. So anyway, some fun stuff in here. Let me put this into the bear cover. And I'm gonna flip to this month. Like I said, I do use the monthly view quite a bit. I'll put a ribbon there. And then I'm gonna flip to the actual day. So we're here. All right, so my planner is ready to go. Oh, let me open up my pen here. Do you guys know about these space pens? These are those pens that you can write in extreme temperatures and at any angle, and underwater, over grease, all these things. So I just love these Fisher space pens. They're very cool. All right, so we are ready. So like I mentioned, I'm not really a journaler, and I am so tempted by, because as you guys saw in my not buying things in 2024 video, I am kind of a stationery freak, and I love stickers and all of that. And so you would think that I would really be into like the whole journaling thing where like every single page is like a work of art. I mean, I definitely appreciate it. And I think it's so cool, but I don't know if I just don't have the time or it's just not the way I think. So I don't really use like my notebooks or my planner to goal set, if you will. I use them to goal achieve. They are to help me achieve whatever goals I have set aside. I know people use like vision boards and things like that to like create goals or to like figure out what it is that's most important to them, their priorities, we'll say. I usually just kind of sit down and write them out. So like I mentioned, I have 5 in that blog post from last week, and I've written down, let's see, 5 more. I'm actually gonna have a call on Thursday evening with 2 of my friends, Melissa and Allison, who I think you may have seen them actually on this channel, I'm not sure. Anyway, we used to Zoom every week during the pandemic. And of course, we've fallen off of that habit, but we loved talking about our goals. We didn't do that every week, but we were doing that kind of often, like we were kind of checking in with each other. And so we're actually gonna be talking on Thursday. So I'm really excited, but my friend Melissa, who is, gosh, she's so many things. She is an advanced yoga teacher. She is a therapist. She does one-on-ones. She does group therapy. She's amazing. She's an amazing person. But anyway, she was like, oh, do you use that s.m.a.r.t theory? Or it's like goal theory, and I think s.m.a.r.t, the anagram s.m.a.r.t has come out from it. And s.m.a.r.t stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. And I was like, I do not. I usually just write down things that I want to achieve. I'm a very goal-oriented person. And so I write down just things that I want to happen that year. But I thought it would probably be a little bit more helpful if I kind of followed this s.m.a.r.t. I almost said s.m.a.r.t. Do you guys... Are you guys Simpsons fans? Do you remember that one episode where Homer's like, S.M.A.R.T, he's trying to spell smart and he forgets the A? Anyway, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, timely. I wrote that down, and then I was looking at my list of goals and I was like, oh, those are not specific at all. So I thought what we could do together is get specific and measurable and achievable, realistic, timely, or whatever, however those are relatable to my goals. But my first goal is to focus more on the home. And I've mentioned this before, when we moved in, obviously you want to decorate everything or whatever, but I felt very overwhelmed. I've never been a homeowner. My husband and I owned a 2-bedroom condo in New York City, and that is on such a smaller scale. And we had just a lot of like leftover IKEA furniture at that point. Anyway, when we moved into this home, I was like, let's just focus on one room at a time. So, it's taken me a while to kind of start to fill out all the rooms. Last year, we built out my husband's office. We got new living room furniture. So definitely slowly, we've been kind of taking care of rooms here and there. But it has definitely come to a standstill. Like, I haven't even really thought about it. And my husband actually came to me the other day. He was like, I thought we wanted to like fix up the backyard. And I was like, we do. So my husband, who is also very goal oriented, and he's much more of like a list maker than I am. And he kind of whipped out his notebook. He was like, well, we want to do the backyard. You were talking about building out your, we were calling it the finishing room. I don't know if we'll call it that, but that's the room where I have all my handbags, my perfumes and everything. Everything's just splayed out. So he's like, I thought we wanted to do that. You wanted to finish up the living room. Just all these things. He wants to clean up the garage and maybe get some nice like cabinets for storage in there. Just things. My goal for focusing more on home really is not good enough if I'm going to do this s.m.a.r.t thing. So I thought, let's write down specifically what I want to do in the home this year. And there's one thing that we've already knocked off the list. We have a laundry room upstairs and we have a laundry room downstairs. We purchased a washer and dryer when we moved in for the laundry room upstairs. I was like, that's all we need. It's just the two of us. But this laundry room down here, it's the bottleneck is me too. Like, I just think, well, I don't know. What do I want to do with it? Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, it's been over 2 years and we still have this kind of empty laundry room down here, which is really Butter's room. And we have found more and more reason to get a washer and dryer down here. So we ordered one and it should be coming in a couple weeks. So that is definitely like a to-do that we can knock off. So I'm very happy about that. The other thing we want to do is, like I mentioned, the backyard. Now that is a very large undertaking. Right now we have a pool, which is great. And we have this sort of like half finished barbecue area. And my husband's like, well, why don't we just finish the barbecue area? And again, me, the bottleneck. And I'm like, well, let's say we get a whole backyard designer out here and we build this outdoor kitchen, and I want some sort of structure out there where we can keep pool stuff, where we can sit, maybe have an outdoor fireplace or an outdoor fire pit, like all these things to really make our backyard kind of like an oasis. It's kind of like a dream of mine. I was like, we may actually not keep like the one part of the outdoor kitchen that that this house came with. I'm like, we may not want to actually keep it there. We may want to move things around. So I don't want to even build out stuff based on what's already out there. We're not going to move the pool or anything major like that. But other than that outdoor barbecue, just that one counter, we really don't have much else out there. So I'm like, if we need to move that, we should move that, kind of depending on the design. So the backyard is going to be a pretty big undertaking, not just time, but money-wise as well. And so, budget-wise, I don't know if we'll be able to do the backyard and finish the living room and kind of get California closets back in here and do my finishing room and maybe my office. That's another room that needs to be like figured out. So I think what I do want to focus on is the backyard. I think that is something that not only will bring us a lot of joy, it'll add value to our home. It'll change up like the way we live a little bit. I'm hoping, I'm guessing and I'm hoping. But like right now, we're very stuck in this routine of just like eating dinner at this counter, we watch TV or whatever. I'm like, how nice would it be if we had this outdoor structure and we're grilling stuff and we can just eat outside and there's a fire pit or a fireplace, whatever it is, some sort of fire out there, and we may get like a TV to hang or whatever. Wouldn't that just be so nice where we can bring all of this outside? Because there really are a lot of days here in Vegas where it's so beautiful. As soon as the sun goes down, it's still like kind of warm, but it's not too hot and the sun isn't like screaming, and it's just so pleasant outside. There's a lot of days like you can do that a lot. Here it's really, really worth it to have kind of this indoor outdoor living thing. So I think that's what I want to focus on. And that's not to say that, if I see a coffee table on sale that really strikes my fancy, that I won't get something for the living room. But I don't want it to be my focus this year. I think I want to build out the backyard. So I'm putting it on the list. I've already crossed off the washer dryer because we've done that, but I'm putting backyard on the list. That's exciting. And yeah, this whole like being specific, I think is really good. I think that is what really helps a goal kind of take on some life, because otherwise it's still like in the ether, still kind of this like thought cloud in your brain. But as soon as you make it specific, it's like, oh, okay. And then all of the like subtasks start to pop up in your head. It's like, oh, I gotta call someone. My husband and I have to figure out what our budget is. We got to figure out the elements that we want, and then we'll have a designer kind of figure out where they go and all those things. So it's, I think that'll be fun. That'll be exciting. So I guess stay tuned for that. So we're going to focus on the backyard. We're going to do that. Okay. Another goal of mine, and I don't even know what I meant by this, but I just put down financial goals. I don't know. What does that mean? Save more? Spend more? Is that a financial goal? Save more, whatever. So again, I need to be specific. I need to be very, very specific. And I think the one thing that I really want to do, and I'm circling it, I'm crossing off any other silly notes that I have, I'm circling paying off my car. My plan was at first to lease the car. And everyone was like, no, it's a Porsche, it's a car that you'll probably want to keep, all the things. And I'm like, well, you can always buy a car at the end of the lease, but it's not the most financially savvy thing to do. And so I had decided, okay, I'm going to buy my car. I'm not going to lease my car. I'm going to buy my car. How am I going to buy it? Am I going to take out a loan? Am I going to buy it outright? Which was not really feasible. It's not something I wanted to do. I could have, but I'm like, I don't want to like throw so much cash at it immediately. But having debt, even car debt, is very uncomfortable for me. And that actually reminds me, would you guys be interested in a video about my financial history? Because it's been a roller coaster, let me tell you. I think I may have some things to talk about in regards to at least my experience and what's brought me, to this particular spot in my life right now. But anyway, debt now makes me very, very uncomfortable. I don't have any credit card debt. The only debt we have is our mortgage. And when I took on this car debt, and my husband leases his car, which I guess is considered a debt. But when I was considering my car, I thought, you know what? I'll take out a loan, but I really want to be able to put down like a large down payment and be able to pay off the car pretty quickly. I just don't want it like hanging over my head. It really bugs me. It's a carryover for sure from a very, very bad habit from my 20s. We're talking like when I graduated from college. Back then there wasn't a lot of online payment. So I'd have to write out a check, put it in the envelope, and I'd have to get a stamp and mail it off. That stupid envelope would sit in my bag for weeks and I'd be late on my payment, this and that. And so like just having debt, managing having the debt just has always been this like thing for me. This like, oh, I gotta remember. I mean, now there's auto pay and all that kind of stuff, so it's not a big deal. But I just have this like leftover like angst about having debt. I hate having monthly payments for anything. I don't like subscriptions. I may have talked about this before. I don't like having subscriptions. I'm like, just what is it for a lifetime subscription? $1,000? I'd rather just pay that than the like $9.99 a month. I just feel like it's like water against a rock. It just is like killing me slowly and I can't stand it. Anyway, wow, that was a tangent. I would like to pay off my car in 2024. I was able to put down a nice like down payment. And so my monthly payments aren't that bad, but I just don't want it. I just don't want the monthly payments. I don't want the debt and I just want to pay it off. So that is my financial goal for 2024. I think that would be great. That would make me very, very happy. Being specific, I'm telling you, I don't think I've ever been specific enough in the past, but just saying that out loud to you, seeing it in writing, pay off car, I'm already thinking, I'm like, well, I got to calculate how much the payments are going to be for the next 12 months, all the stuff. I'm like, okay, this is good. This is interesting. Yeah. Okay. So that was goal number 2. Goal number 3 is to find more interesting recipes. So as you guys know, I started down this wellness journey, for lack of a better phrase, this wellness journey. I started it last September, kind of. August, September was kind of this like slow roll into it. I'll say September because that's when I really started going for it. And my trainer gave me like a meal plan, and it's not bad. I've been able to stick to it on most days. And like I talked about when I was talking about consistency, that's all you can ask for. I follow it on most days. And then if I have someone visiting from out of town and we decide to go to the Strip for a dinner, then I eat what I want. Maybe I watch the quantity. Maybe I eat half of the steak instead of the whole steak, which I can definitely polish off a steak. I don't have dessert. I just try and like round things out a little bit. I try and be a little bit more conscientious about what I'm putting in my mouth, those sorts of things. But like I said, I started really kind of hardcore August, September. So it's been about, I don't know, 4 or 5 months, and that I've been mainly following his meal plan. I need to find other interesting recipes. During Mishmas, I put up a blog post about that pumpkin stew that I found, because I got that pumpkin stew pot from Le Creuset. I found that pumpkin stew recipe. It's great. It pretty much follows like his meal plan concept, and it's been great. And I need to find more recipes like that, because sometimes when I'm preparing like chicken breast, the way I have been preparing it, which is just baking it in the oven and throwing some spices on it, I'm like, I don't know how much more of this chicken breast I can take. And I don't want to get to the point where I'm so sick of it that I just go off the rails. So I just have find more interesting recipes. I'm going to say find 5 more interesting recipes for dinner. That also gives me a nice kind of visual of what I'm looking for. Okay, so sorry, my eyes are kind of glazing over this SMART list again. Specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. Let me just review. So focus more on home. We're going to focus on the backyard. I think that's specific. I guess that's measurable, because it's either going to be done or not done. It's achievable, it's realistic, and it's timely. We're going to do it this year at some point. We're going to, you know what, because the finishing of the project, I think, is a little bit out of our control, kind of depending on contractors and their timing and all that kind of stuff. We'll say we're going to start construction in 2024. Let me write that down. Start construction on the backyard this year. And then number 3 was pay off the car. So that's specific, that's measurable, because I either still have the loan or don't have the loan. It's achievable, I think. It's realistic, I think. And it's timely. I'm going to do that this year. And I should probably break down whatever number that is per month and have that kind of like as my goal. So pay off the car this year, and then find 5 more interesting recipes for dinner. I think that's specific. I think that's measurable, 5 more. Achievable, realistic, timely. Yes. We'll do that this year as well. These are all my yearly goals. I don't know, do you guys do like monthly? I guess you could break these down, but we're gonna do this. I am not generally the biggest goal setter. I'm not a New Year's resolution kind of person. I don't know, I find resolutions to be so, I don't know, I guess they're kind of the same thing, but I like the idea of goals more. To me, goals are a little bit more positive. Yeah, I feel like resolutions are always so negative. They come from like a negative place, like you want to change something about yourself. And goals to me are more about achieving. So this is kind of a big deal for me, because I am very goal oriented, but I don't usually sit down too much. I maybe started last year or the year before, but I don't usually kind of sit down and really like assess what my goals are for the year. So this is new for me. Kind of thinking ahead, thinking and being an adult. The next one is, I just wrote down masterclass. Now, my husband and I have a subscription to Masterclass. Yes, it's a subscription. I'm like, do they have a lifelong membership? My husband's like so sick of that question. He's like, no, Michelle, stop it. Anyway, so we have a Masterclass subscription. It could be a yearly subscription. Those I enjoy too, because then you only get billed once and not every month. I really hate the every month. Okay, I'll stop talking about that. So Masterclass. My husband is really good at watching masterclasses. He will just get into bed. I like to read before bed, and he'll just put on masterclass. And he doesn't even wear headphones or anything. He puts it on mute and he reads the subtitles. He doesn't have the best hearing, so we've been doing closed captioning for a long time. So anyway, that's how he watches TV, on mute with subtitles, which I love because I don't like extraneous sound. And if I'm reading, I really don't like sound. And I'll usually just close my book and go to bed, and he doesn't have to move. or do anything. So anyway, he loves masterclass. And so he watches them on the regular. And he's like, are you watching? You know, he checks in with me every once in a while. He's like, are you watching any of these? And I'm like, no, I'm not. He's like, there's so much good stuff on there. He's like, so many classes that you would love. He's like, literally, he was like, just get into it. And I'm like, okay. So my number 4 of just masterclass, it's not specific and measurable. It's nothing. So what am I saying here? Am I going to do 1 masterclass a month? Am I going to do 4 this year? That sounds a little bit better to me. 1 a quarter. I'll do 4 master classes this year. What do we think? I mean, I think that's specific. It's measurable. I think it is very achievable. I think it's very realistic. And I do think it's very timely. There was something else I was reading about this goal setting theory. I think the original goal theory, not goal setting, but goal theory was by Edwin Locke. I think he was a psychologist. Anyway, so there's been a lot of motivational coaches that have like used his theory and kind of created all of these things. Like this S.m.a.r.t, I think, was created from Edwin Locke's goal theory. Anyway, so there's like if you go and you Google like goal theory or, you know, goal theory, Edwin Locke or something, there's a lot of offshoots of this. And I was reading like another one very quickly. And one thing that stuck out to me was, I think it was about commitment to the goal. Like the person has to want to do it. It can't just be something that they think that they should do or they're being pressured into doing by someone else or whatever. Like they really have to want to do it. There has to be some sort of like intrinsic want to do it. So I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, yeah, I love the idea of masterclass. And I have watched a couple years ago. I've watched a few and they're so great. But I'm like, is that where I'm going to want to spend my extra time, my focus? Is on masterclass this year, because time is precious, right? We just don't have a lot of it during the day. And I feel like now that I'm going to the gym a little bit more regularly, the gym that I train with my trainer is not that close. It is most definitely a time commitment to go there twice a week to see him. And then I train at a closer gym to me on other days, like this morning. And then I go to Pilates, which is not that close. So I have like all of these time commitments already. I want to read. I actually have a reading goal up on my blog post. So is this where I want to put my time? I really don't know. Isn't that interesting? I think if I was just speaking off the cuff or if I was just having a conversation with my husband right now, I'd be like, yeah, sure. But really sitting down and thinking, is this where I want to carve out a little bit of time for? I don't know, guys. I think it would be great. I think I could definitely learn stuff from there, but I just don't know that that's what I want to do right now. I'm going to put a question mark next to masterclass. Okay, and then I have one last goal, which is so vague, so vague. It is create a schedule for content. What? So I don't think I'm in the minority here. I don't think a lot of content creators plan out their content that far in advance. I mean, I think there's some, kind of depending on the content that they do, obviously. But I think if you were to talk to other beauty or fashion or lifestyle, maybe they plan a couple weeks out, like, oh, okay, I've got a couple of video ideas, let's do this. Or maybe they have like a series, like Samantha March's Will I Buy It? So they know on Wednesdays she would post them? Every Wednesday she would post that. Or people go live, every Monday night someone goes live or whatever. Outside of that, I don't know that there's that much scheduling. And I will say, if you'll indulge me with my rambling here, I will say that when I started working for myself and then got into YouTube, one of the things I loved the most about working for myself was that I could wake up and decide what I was going to do that day, that it was all on me, and I loved that freedom, but I think I've taken it too far. So one thing that I did really enjoy about YouTube way in the beginning was I'd wake up and be like, I'm going to talk about my 10 favorite blushes, and I would do that. And the next day would be, I'm going to show everyone my makeup collection, and then I would film that. And that so on and so forth. And it was great because it just gave me that freedom to be creative or to see like, oh, so-and-so just posted a video and I really enjoyed it. Let me see if I can do something like that. And then it also gave me the flexibility to talk about new releases. And this has been such a thorn in my side. I don't know if I've talked about this before. I feel like I've talked about it with my friends and other YouTubers so much. But essentially, a lot of my content in the past, I want to say maybe not this past year, maybe the year before I was kind of getting out of it. But before that, I want to say for the first 3 or 4 years of my channel, I focused a lot on new releases because it was exciting. I loved it. I would find out about it on Trend Mood and I would get the date and I would run down to Sephora and I'd come home and I'd quickly film it and I'd put it up at whatever time it was, 3 p.m., 4 p.m., 5 p.m., whenever I got the video done. And it was like this race, right? It was like this adrenaline rush. But that worked when one, I had that kind of energy and time, and two, when you don't have a schedule. I don't know when these new releases are coming out. It's always so vague. You see like coming soon on Sephora, but I'm like, is it coming? Sometimes it's only online and it's not in store. So then I order it, but then the delivery is delayed. So it was almost impossible. I'm sure a much smarter person could figure it out. But it was almost impossible to schedule anything if my focus was on new releases. And that's why I've been really trying to kind of step away from that being the bulk of my content. If there's a new release that really, really blows my skirt up, sure, I'm gonna get it as soon as possible, and I'm gonna dig in, I'm gonna film it, and I'm gonna get it up as soon as possible. But that particular scenario has becoming more rare because I think we're all feeling it. There's such fatigue with new makeup and new releases. So I'll see a new release and I'm like, okay. I'm like, that looks nice, but I'm not like, oh my God, I have to get that. So I think I've set myself up now where I can actually create a schedule because I have stepped away from talking about new releases or having that being the focus of my channel. And I'm relieved by that. I know so many of you ask like, oh, this has come out, are you going to be covering it? Or, and I'm getting these questions less and less. And I will tell you that transition was really, really hard. I want to say between 2021 and 2022. So not last year, but the year before. That's when I really started to kind of like soften up a little bit on it. And my views took like because a new release, they don't even care who I am. People would just be searching for, Natasha Denona glam palette, and they would watch any video that came up with it. Didn't matter that it was me. And so that, that was another thing that was so exciting about new releases. It was almost always like I'm going to get a lot of views on this. So it was very exciting. It's very exciting for a YouTuber to see a video do really, really well, as you can imagine. So anyway, my focus, like I said, my focus is just sort of steered away from that. And so I feel like I'm in a good place now where, I'm okay with my views. I talk about new releases when I get to them, and it's fine. It's fine. I'm not like so anxious about it or so rabid about it. And so now I can actually schedule. To get back to the original point, I can actually, what is my hair doing? Sorry, I feel like it's in my face. I can actually kind of schedule my content a little bit. So that's what I'm alluding to on this list of goals. And specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, timely. Okay, I think being specific and being realistic are the two biggies for this goal, because so many times it's like, as content creators, we're fed a lot of stuff. Like, oh, you want to be big on TikTok? You got to post at least 5 TikToks a day. I'm like, a day? How about a month? So I really have to think about what is realistic for me. I've really been playing around with my upload cadence, shall we say. And, if you guys have been watching me for a long time, when I started YouTube, I uploaded videos 6-7 days a week because, like I said, I would wake up and be like, I'm going to film, and then just sit down, film it, edit it, put it up. That's not exactly possible these days because I am vlogging a little bit more. I'm not doing anything worth recording every single day. So that's, a little tougher. It's just not sustainable. That schedule is not sustainable. So I'm trying to think of a very realistic but specific goal for YouTube. And Sorry, to kind of continue on with my previous thought. So I was, uploading a lot when I first started YouTube. And now, last year, again, because so much of my focus was on vlogging, I don't know, 3 times a week, 4 times a week, I was posting videos. And then when I posted every single day in Mishmas, every single day between December 1st and the 25th, that obviously is not a schedule I can keep. But I liked producing more content. And it made me think, I was like, I don't think 3 days a week is enough. I feel like that it's a little too spotty, So I'm gonna try for 5 times a week on YouTube. I think that's a nice in between what I was doing this past year, sort of getting used to vlogging a little bit more, talking about fashion and lifestyle in addition to beauty. I think that was this past year, sort of this transition year for me. So 5 days, 5 times a week on YouTube. That's going to be the goal. And we're talking long form. I'm not talking about shorts. We're talking long form content. I'm being specific here. And then I've got Instagram and I've got TikTok. And then I've got my blog and newsletter. Whoa, I do not have a newspaper. So the blog and the newsletter, we're doing one times a week. We're doing once a week. Wow, maybe I should start taking master classes. We're doing once a week, and I think that feels okay. I think the blog, if I say to myself 3 times a month, that works for me. Instagram and TikTok, that's where I really fall off. I'm just like, I don't know, just kind of, if I have something, I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, let me do a reel. Like I don't plan it out. I don't think about it. Shall we say 5 times a week on Instagram and 5 times a week on TikTok? Okay, we're just gonna do 5 times a week. I'm just thinking with the 2 days of not posting, it's like there's like a little bit of that breathing time. And I think that's really important in creating a schedule, is that you kind of schedule in like a little breathing time. And, if I end up doing Instagram reels, I can put those up on TikTok as well. So, okay. How do you guys feel about that? So 5 times on YouTube, long form, 5 times on Instagram, 5 times on TikTok. Instagram could be reels, not stories, like in my feed, reels and static posts. And then 5 times short form content on TikTok a week. And then we're talking once a week for the newsletter and 4 or 3 times a month for the blog. Is that specific? Yes. Is that measurable? Yes. Is that achievable? Yes. Is it realistic? We'll see. Is it timely? Let's try this for the next 3 months and then we'll reassess. Because I'm looking at all of these 5 times that I've written down and I'm like, okay. So anyway, those are my 5 additional goals, additional to the ones in my blog post. Definitely check out my blog post because I have some good ones in there. 2 of them are related to fitness, just 2. 2 of them are related to fitness. Would you guys mind letting me know what some of your goals are or resolutions, what some of your goals are for 2024, if you have any? If not, let me know what you think of my goals. That would be helpful. But I do like this specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, timely. I really, really like that because, my initial list of goals was really just like, I would have forgotten them by the end of this week, But these are specific and they make them more memorable, which is what I think, if you're going to make like year-long goals, they have to be memorable. Otherwise, is that just me? Like, I would just forget about them. I'd be like, all right, I had what were my financial goals? It wouldn't resonate. So anyway, let me know all of your thoughts down below in the comments section. I cannot wait to hear what some of your goals are, and I'll see you in my next video.